All right, welcome everybody to the First Tech Challenge Coach and Mentor Professional Development. This session is called Branding Your Team to Get Noticed, and presenting will be Ryan Melton and his team. I believe they have a pre-recorded video that he's going to show and then be able to answer your questions. The description of this event: your team's identity is very important, and they are going to share some of their tips that have helped them to create a memorable brand for their team. Branding is your identity. It is how your team will be remembered and how it can help your team gain the interest of all the stakeholders in your community. So without further ado, Mr. Melton, go for it. The floor is yours.
Good evening, everybody. So I am Ryan Melton. I am the coach of 11279 Pure Imagination out of Grenada, Mississippi. Sorry, my girls couldn't be here with you today. I had several of them ended up having to get quarantined last minute, so they did just go ahead and pre-record it. And I'm happy to take any questions afterwards that I can, but I'm going to let my ladies take it away. So let me get the video up and going. And if the sound doesn't work, please let me know and I will fix it.
Welcome everyone to First Forward presented by Qualcomm. Our games this year include Cargo Connect, Freight Frenzy, and Rapid React. We are team number 11279 Pure Imagination. We are an after-school club based in Grenada, Mississippi, consisting of 7 female members. This is our 6th year competing, and 6 years ago, we decided to name ourselves after Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the original, of course. And unfortunately, that same afternoon, Gene Wilder passed away. So ever since then, we decided to keep the name and theme in honor of him. And we've dedicated our logo, as you can see, and our colors scheme and our robot designs, as well as their names, to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, keeping that branding and theme the same. So you can see our logo is a hat, and it's purple and gold, kind of symbolizing our color scheme for that. And with all the kind of crazy stuff that Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is encompassing, our team, honestly. So we're just very keeping with that, like our Gloop, our last robot, Veruca, like that, keeping the names of our robots dedicated to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
So, branding. Branding. You're going to hear it a million times in this presentation. But what exactly does it mean? To us, it means doing anything that's going to make you known. So, for example, we have a picture of the P3 Pandas. They're showing off some of their accessories that they use so that people know who they are. Some of the things that we have done, we've created clothes, we've had mascots, and we have a very memorable theme, as Drew was mentioning earlier. So, the thing about branding is originality. You don't want to do something that someone else is doing. That's the entire point of it. You want to make sure that you're unique and that people remember who you are. There are a lot of teams that know us because of some of the things we've done, some of the funny stories, and we've just made ourselves known throughout our whole community, whether it's doing outreach, doing little activities with your school or with other people that you know, or really just anything. So I'm going to go ahead and pass this off to Madeline so she can talk a little bit more about it.
One of the most important things about branding is picking a theme. Like Layla said, if you find a theme, it will make you recognizable in your community. It will make it easier for you to do outreach, and it will make you... For example, our Willy Wonka theme has made us extremely recognizable because it is different. It is new. Not really, but it is just completely random, honestly. And so it makes it recognizable. It makes it easy to remember. For another example is Challenge Accepted, number 7802, because they always wear pink. It's what they're known for. Their logo is pink, they wear pink shirts, and it is one of their things that they always do. Also, don't change your theme because then it will...
It's important to not change your theme so that teams know exactly who you are. For example, if you're one thing one year and then another thing the next year, a lot of teams won't remember you by your name. They remember you because of your theme. So, for example, let's say tomorrow we change our theme to blue and black. People aren't going to know who we are because that's something that we're known for. So, it's very important to stick with a theme.
Logos and colors. Logos create an image for your team and make it easily recognizable. Take Nike, for example. Everyone knows the big white check mark and their catchphrase, just do it. If you change those things up or if you make something that's not original, then nobody will know who you are. Incorporating originality in your logo design and thinking of things that are unique will also help you stand out. If we made a panda who could do karate, no one has ever done a panda that could do karate. Well, Kung Fu Panda. But if we made a mascot of him, then we would be pretty famous because it's original and it's very unique and creative. Keeping a steady theme throughout the process also helps you stand out. If you keep a steady theme, then your name will constantly get out there. You won't be one day you'll be the Pink Pandas and then next you'll be the Tough Toucans. Why would you switch it up? No one will know who you are the next day.
So for social media is genuinely one of the most important places where you can not only establish your brand, but also not only display your logo and theme, but also just really get it out there. So displayed, we have some of the top five social medias that we have seen teams use throughout the years. First one being Instagram, second Twitter, third Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. So each one has specific things that are sort of catered to that app that really helps you get your logo out there. And each one has specific ways in which you can do it. Take Instagram, for example. Instagram allows you to put photos out there of not only your team, but just like your team either displaying your logo. It also allows you to display outreach, and you can also has an option for a profile photo for you to put your logo there and put your you can put your theme throughout your Instagram setup basically. Second one is Twitter. So Twitter allows you to put like short little phrases out there. These can be short little things you want to say, or you can also tweet out photos or videos yet again. But this place you can do use a lot of hashtags. So if you want a hashtag for your team that you want to dedicate, um, that like surrounds your theme or your brand or your logo, Twitter, perfect place to do that. And the thing about using multiple social media apps and why it's so important to use multiple of them is because a lot of people may only have one. So some people who may have Facebook may not have Instagram or they may not have Twitter. And speaking of Facebook is another great place for you to display your logo and your theme and get your brand out there because a lot of people um, are who are on Facebook usually don't go to other social media places. Also, Facebook and Instagram both have live features that allow you to sort of display your logo and your theme through these opportunities as well. Um, Facebook, like Instagram and Twitter, allows you to also post videos and photos as well as tagging people. So maybe if you want a certain people to see, this is a place to do it. And Facebook also has a feature that allows you, as well as Twitter, basically every social media allows you to have a place where you can put your logo somewhere, whether it be through a profile, whether it be through a banner, or just a little symbol in the bottom corner. Uh, we're really pushing for this logo and this theme because it's really important to establish your brand. Fourth one is TikTok. Relatively new one, hasn't been around that often, but you can get very unique with the way you use TikTok in order to brand. If you wanted to make funny videos that you're sort of known for, or you want to make just like record yourself doing funny skits or something, that is all. Or if you wanted to, you could do just like they have they have like minute long videos. So if you want to do a short tutorial on something, teams may go to you for advice and guidance because they know that you're the place where they can get it. And then the fifth option is YouTube. YouTube, I feel like, is one of the most broad places there is at the moment, because a lot of teams have recently started using YouTube because there's a lot of things you can do on YouTube. Specifically, some teams have started doing vlogs. Basically, they'll record themselves throughout the whole
Testing.
week, and they'll record themselves throughout the whole week, and they'll compile it into a video, and they'll get you'll be able to see all their funny moments, all their funny photos and experiences, and they can sort of give you quick insights into their team, so you can build sort of you get to see their team more than just the logo, and that can also make them more memorable, because if you're super creative with your ideas, that image is going to stick in their head. And YouTube, some teams have also decided to, like TikTok, do short guidance videos, basically tutorials. However, these are a bit longer and you can go in more in depth for places. And this really allows you to not only reach out more into the community, but to more teams specifically, because now teams know that you're a very reliable source to go to seek information. And now you've sort of branded yourselves as the people they can go to if they ever need advice. And all in all, social media is a really, really, really important place, especially with the pandemic and all. We haven't last year and some this year too, we haven't been able to go out and do a lot of stuff in the community like firsthand. So doing it virtually, whether it be through any social media app or whether all of these platforms have direct messaging or DMing, you can DM other teams, reach out that way, establish your brand that way, putting yourself out there and getting your name to the right people, whether it be sponsors or whether it be through advertisements. People will see you through social media, especially if you start reaching out first. It really gets your name out in the world.
Clothing. It's a daily essential. Everyone loves jackets and hoodies, especially now in this day and age. Adding logos to shirts to make conformity or to know who it is an awesome way to get your brand out of there. Everyone, every day, you have to put on a shirt. So, of course, your logo walks around on that person's body with that shirt on, and your name is being recognized. Team mottos are also great to add to clothing. Once again, Nike. On all of their shoes or on all of their clothing or backpacks, they have their phrase, just do it, which is very common and everyone knows it by now. Adding a mascot to the team for extra flair and uniqueness. Let's see, taking famous football teams, the Cowboys. They have hats and their mascot is a cowboy. It's recognizable, it's unique for them, especially since they're in Texas. And if they're memorable, team colors are also pretty common in clothing choices. If, like our colors are purple and gold, we want to go sell a blue shirt because that wouldn't represent us. All of our accessories or clothing would be purple and gold so we can get our colors and our brand out there. Memorable and different clothing types can also make a huge difference, such as capes, fedoras, or ponchos. If you're a superhero, you always wear a cape. It's recognizable. And if you're something special, we have a hat, thanks to Willy Wonka. And it's purple and gold because it's symbolic.
Swag. It is the one way that you can use items to get your name out there. If you put your name on hand sanitizer, post-it cards, pens, buttons, tape measure, posters, t-shirts, everyday accessories, you can be swag. And people will wear it around. They will advertise your name for free stuff. That sounds pretty great.
Up next, we have outreach. Every team does outreach. There's a million different possibilities for you to do something to get your name out there. So, for example, some of the stuff we done, we volunteered at places, we've sold things, we've done virtually everything and anything to get our name out there. Another thing that you can do is maybe go volunteer at a soup kitchen or a food pantry. Anything where you can get your name out. Not only is it good for your team, it's good to help get you some awards at competitions, but it's also just a really good feeling to know that you're helping someone. So some other things you can do is maybe sell lollipops. There's been multiple teams that have done that. They sell lollipops, candy, anything from brownies like we have done. Or you can do something that's popular. For example, you can do poppets. They're really in nowadays. You can do fidget spinners. We did that one year. Anything that's trendy that anyone would want to get their hands on.
So to go into more depth, what Josie mentioned about clothing and stuff, mascots. Think back to the last time you were at a football game. There was probably a mascot there. And they're there because they get people riled up. They get them proud to be there. They get them excited. It's memorable. And it's good for branding. So some mascots that we've had over the years, we've had Gusbo, which was a little duck that we found when we were setting up our field and everything. And we actually used him to help weigh down our robot when we had pretty much no other option. So that's just kind of important to us, and I think it's good when it's important to us because that will really help show that it's important to our team and it'll be memorable. And then we also have Veruca, which goes into our pure imagination theme. And then Charlie Buckets, which is those pop figurines that we got one year when we went to state. And we put him on the robot. He's kind of just been around our room, and that's just really to keep us proud of what we are doing and to keep others remembering who we are and what we're doing. And we've had so many, but they all kind of center either around our team and our personality or our entire brand. Pure Imagination, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. And it's good to keep that consistent too, but you can also have many like we've done. Anything that will keep your brand in people's minds, be memorable, and of course incorporate your logos and colors, like I said, so purple and gold or Charlie Buckets. And they also add opportunities to incorporate it to competition because if people see you have this, then you're more likely to get talked to or be shown or anything like that. So overall, mascots really are just a great way for you to keep and get in people's minds.
So pits. If you aren't quite sure what pits are exactly, they're basically a place that, if you are able to go to states or worlds, which I personally was able to go last year with my team, uh, they're the perfect place for you to display your logos and just keep a consistent theme throughout all of it. And for example, on screen we have to the left RM Robotics 5421. You can see they've basically incorporated all of pretty much all the stuff we've mentioned. They have pretty iconic colors, so the black and the yellow, as well as displaying their logo. And they've kept their theme up of hazardous. Like if you look at their pit, the first thing you think of is, oh, like that's a hazard sign. And then you look to the right at team 8651. Wait for it. They've also incorporated a lot of these things. They have their pretty iconic black and white colors that they're sort of known for, and they have a black background and white light. So they're incorporating these colors in unique ways. And they also are very tech savvy, and that's sort of what they're known for. So they have like LED badges that they wear, and they have a lot of technological stuff or light up stuff at their pit. And these are great places for you to sort of get yourself out there, and like this is where you make an impression to maybe not to your community specifically, but to other teams so they get to know you. And this isn't all just for display, right? It's also important to go around to other teams and sort of make yourself memorable through that way. Also, it's not all about just specifically your logo, your colors, and your theme. It could also be very unique things that are specific to your pit. So, for example, our team is Willy Wonka, and the chocolate factory themed. So last year we had a TV set up in our pit that played the movie throughout competition, and some people stopped by and they saw that and they realized like, oh, they immediately understood what our whole thing was because it was all candy themed. So they understood exactly what was going on, and that really made a memorable impression on them because they're like, oh, that's the team that had the TV in the pit that was playing the movie. That's so cool. And it's important to keep unique aspects to your tent, and just keep unique aspects to your team as well. So even when you're out like talking with other teams and stuff, because this is one of the few in-person things that you get to do with your team. So it's important to make connections through your team through in person, and this may also be the place where you exchange social media apps where you yet again get yourself out there more. And it's all about if you have your logo and your theme and stuff displayed on your social media, they'll also be able to see it there. And it's important to just remember to keep your whole theme and color steady, and so they're rememberable. So because we really loved what RM Robotics and Wait For It did, because they kept a steady theme and you can clearly see what exactly they were going for, and you can pretty much pinpoint certain things about them, and you'll remember certain aspects of them, which is what you really want to establish whenever you're doing your pit, as well as presenting your logo or just really representing your team as a whole. And this is also the place where you hand out swag. So as previously mentioned, the really cool thing about swag is swag travels, right? So if you, for example, had hand sanitizer that was really important during the pandemic, every time someone would ask for hand sanitizer, they would see your logo. And yet again, it may indirectly travel. So it goes far beyond just like getting yourself out there initially. It can also spread through just like other people doing it as well. So you may not be doing all the work, but a lot of stuff goes on even after you've initially done some stuff. And also for swag, we're gonna touch that a bit more because pits are usually where you hand out the swag stuff. It's important to keep unique things for your swag. So really pushing for that uniqueness, really pushing for that steadiness. But it's also it's important to include that swag follows trends, right? So like Layla mentioned with the outreach and stuff, you sold things that follow trends. So it's important to include one thing that may be very useful this year and like last year no one would have really known about and no one would have really wanted, right? So if you would have took some Poppet toys last year, maybe not that many people would have been interested in it, but this year everyone would be crazed about it because they would recognize that and they would realize, hey, like this is something new, this is something that's on trend now. But even with your swag and stuff you're handing out, it's important to also still keep those logos and those colors. So maybe not specifically, but even for the hand sanitizer stuff, we had yellow holders on it. So going back to our yellow or our gold and purple theme, we still kept that colors, even though it's something as minuscule as hand sanitizer. It was still important for us to include that because it still pushes that it still pushes our whole
Music. Music is a great way and one of the most popular ways to be branded or a sort of brand. Companies use it all the time in their commercials. Think of McDonald's and their I Love It, O'Reilly and their O'Reilly, or State Farm. Everyone does it because it's one of the most, I don't know, easier ways, one of the most memorable ways. It's been proven that a song is easier to remember than a name. So pick a song, make it catchy, make it, I don't know, funny, humorous. Figure it out. Be original. Don't get copyrighted. It's so, what up?
before we
So
wrap
before we
this up,
close
I
out this
think there's some-
presentation,
I think there's some other stuff we should include about just specifics about branding and stuff. Going back to the music and stuff, I think if you can somehow incorporate your brand or your theme into your music. So for us, for example, if we included the Willy Wonka theme song, that would be a great way to incorporate our theme into our music. And going back to just music again, or maybe it's a specific song that really represents your team or the sort of like the sort of vibe you want your team to have. So for us, we really love Bohemian Rhapsody, and we really love the rock aspect of it. So we really think that represents our team as well. And so music goes far beyond just what may sound good, but it should really represent your team and your brand. And you can incorporate the music into pretty much anywhere you go, as long as it's non-copyrighted.
So just to wrap things up one more time, we discussed themes and why it's important to have a theme and stick with it. We talked about logos and, memorable logos, and such as Nike, like Josie said, and stuff like that. Talked about social media and how important it is to get your name out there into the world where virtually anyone can see it. Talked about clothing, things such as shirts, hats, and even some bizarre stuff like capes. And so after that, we talked about swag, and giving out free stuff is a really good way to get your name across to everyone. Outreach, how important outreach is, not only for, the judges aspect of it, but also for how to get your name out there and how to keep it revolving in a way where almost everyone can see it. We talk about mascots, and not only is it fun to have a mascot, but it's also extremely memorable. Hits, which are a way to kind of show who you are in a way where anyone that walks by can see it in a kind of fun, memorable way. And we talked about music, which, as Summer said, music's more memorable than a name. And, keeping on that, it's always about getting people to remember who you are. So that's going to wrap up this branding presentation. We would like to thank all of you for watching. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact us in any way possible. Thank you.
All righty, that went very well. We did have one question that popped up in the chat there, Ryan.
Okay.
Do you ever sell your swag as a fundraiser, or have sponsors fund your swag purchases?
We have done most of the purchases just out of our school account that we have, but we do that with money we get from sponsors. So a lot of our swag, like they were saying, the Post-its and the hand sanitizers, is just little bitty things that we just put our logo on. So it's not really anything sponsors have ever given us before, but that's definitely a route we could go with it. And as far as selling it, not to this point, we haven't. Now, my girls have access to some equipment this year that they've kind of talked about doing something with cutting boards and putting the logo on cutting boards and maybe selling them as part of a fundraiser. So we have looked at going that route a little bit, but not something we've really focused on. But you definitely could. I mean, if you think there'd be somebody interested. And, I know at the school district I teach in, they put our school logo pretty much on everything and sell it. So there's probably definitely some interest in it if you've got a big enough following for your robotics, your team or your club that you have.
You mentioned your school logo, which is the general G for Grenada. How come you did not incorporate that into the robotics team? Some teams do, some teams don't.
With my team, I'm not a very artistic person. So 5 years ago, that first crew we had, I had a girl on the team she was really good at drawing it. And they all decided that they liked the idea of kind of meshing Willy Wonka and a robot together. So she drew the original hand-drawn design, the TV monitor looking head on the robot body with his clothes and all. And that's just the logo they went with. We are a school team, but they've never really associated with the logo that all the sports kind of carry around. So they kind of wanted to differentiate themselves from, our football team has the G on their helmets and the jerseys. The baseball team runs the G on everything. So they just kind of wanted to make their own brand, their own little niche in the population there.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that. I was when I lived in Georgia, I was a mentor for an FRC team that was completely they were a school team, but the fact that they were at Wheeler High School as opposed to being their own thing, they changed instead of the Wildcats, or the RoboCats or whatever, Robo Wildcats, whatever they wanted to call them, they basically made themselves the circuit runners. And instead of being blue and gold like the school colors, they were green. So they definitely, that was a choice they made when they started as well. Any other questions out there for Ryan? Or Ryan, do you want to add anything to your video from your girls? I thought they did a fantastic job.
They did. That was the first time I had watched it, so I let them freehand do everything on their own with it. They were quarantined, so I just let them record their thing. Yeah, they hit a lot of the really high points, the good things that we do. In my classroom, we've got a big banner we made, and we get lots of visitors coming through because it's an engineering classroom. So I make sure the banner there for them is front and center. It's whatever you can do to make yourself and your team stand out is what you really want to do. You want to be memorable. So whether it's the banner or swag that you give away, or whatever you can do, because the more recognizable you are, the more of a commonplace name you are in conversation, for lack of a better way of putting it, the better your brand is going to be, and the more recognition your people will get, your team, your coaches, and that recognition leads to sponsorships. It leads to mentorships. So you definitely want your name out there.
It also leads to alliance selection sometimes. People
that as well.
They might not know, how your robot did, but they know, hey, we know Pure Imagination. We like that team. Let's pick them.
Definitely that too. Yep.
If anybody has any questions, feel free to unmute yourself and ask away, or type them in the chat.
Or even if you have ideas for swag that you would like to share, things y'all do, or branding techniques y'all do that we didn't hit on.
Excellent point.
We'd love to hear them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wait.
Well, kind of quiet group. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, but we can always